welcome to Life and Soul podcast with Kate Spencer and
Emma T.
the
What?
trumpet.
Oh, okay. Literally didn't know what she meant there. Sorry.
Emma, how many times have we practiced that?
I know. I was.
What
just,
a tit.
I know.
Anyway, so today we are going to be talking about what are you consuming.
Ooh.
So it's not just food, people. In the main, I'm going to be talking about non-food. So it's getting close to lunchtime here as well. So
It's really only 10:35.
it feels like lunchtime though. Is it only 10:35?
Legit.
Oh God. Snack time then.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we are aware that there are people that are feeling quite triggered and overwhelmed by what they are consuming in terms of media. Now, we had a discussion about this a while ago because I was in Emma's kitchen and we had the TV on in the background, and this big triggery headline came on the ticker tape on the bottom of the news, and we were like, oh God, what is it? Turned it up. Totally immersed ourselves in fear and misery, completely knocked ourselves off our perch, ruined a couple of hours, I would think. And guess what? In the nicest possible way, there was nothing we could do about what was going on. And we're not saying that to minimise it, because it's awful when bad stuff happens. But what we want to highlight to you is you can choose what you consume. Now, there's something classic about this as well with social media, and Facebook in particular seems to get a lot of hammering with this. And I've seen recently people saying they're going to leave Facebook because it's so triggering. But here's the thing with any media, so what you listen to, if you don't like this, for example, what you listen to, what you watch, what you scroll, what you click, it's up to you. You get to choose what that is. So if you know that you're going to find something especially triggering, then you can set your social media settings so that you don't see it. So say, for example, you've got a friend who is, really invested in a political party, or they're really invested in a cause. Say they're a vegan, or they're really invested in something to do with the environment, or whatever it is, and they post a lot of stuff to do with whatever it is, but you find it triggering, then you're okay in dodging that. It's allowed. You're not being mean if you don't look at that. In fact, you're being very kind to yourself and probably to the friendship as well. So you can adjust your settings so that you don't see that. So what do you think, Emma? I feel like I've rambled a bit, but you get the gist.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things I do on Facebook sometimes is hide posts for 30 days. Kate is, what's really funny...
I'm pointing at the mic because Emma keeps turning her head away.
What you can't see is Kate making a sort of
Pointing.
bird-like beak shape towards the mic. So yeah, you can snooze people, I think, for 30 days. You can unfollow people. You can limit posts. And all you need to do is do a quick Google search, and I'll just look on YouTube for a video of how to do it. What else was I going to say? Yeah, and this is nothing against like vegans or environmentalists or anything. I'm a vegetarian, but sometimes
and we both recycle.
I know.
You know what I mean? We live mindfully, but we don't want to see on a daily basis pictures, and everyone is entitled to post what they want, and that's okay. Stay in your own lane. We're not judging. All we're doing is we're just thinking, sometimes, especially if you don't have a lot of resilience, that's going to trigger me.
Sure, even pictures of a holiday, a fabulous holiday, could be the trigger. It could be the animal rights thing. It could be environmental. It could be political. It could be anything. It could be somebody's new car. It could be anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we're saying is, rather than going to the extreme of I'm leaving social media, especially if you need it and there's a way that you can use it positively in your life, then it's a bit like throwing the baby out with the bathwater, isn't it? Unless you can filter it so that it works for you. And you can, because all of the tools are there, but it's about being mindful in what you're consuming. I don't like horror films. I don't like anything to do with real life murders, real crime, horror films. My kid loves them. So I will not be in the room when she's watching them because it triggers me. I get frightened. I don't like them. I can't sleep. I hate the sight of blood. I'm dead squeamish. So I choose, guess what? I choose not to watch that because it's not good for me, because I'm an expert on me and I know that freaks me out and I don't like it. So why would I put myself in a situation? I mean, what kind of crazy immersion type therapy is that? Locking myself in a room and turning the lights out and putting something on and turning it up really loud and scaring myself. All that's going to do is frighten me, lower my vibration, make me not sleep, make me a basket case. So, and other people react differently to other things. Why are you doing it?
I know, absolutely. And the other thing is, the really good thing about practicing boundaries and consuming on social media is that once you get savvy with that and you get used to it, it actually ripples out into real life as well. So we might that might be the thing that pops into our head straight away. What are you consuming? Oh, the news and social media. What are you consuming outside of the house with people, with relationships?
Oh wow, gossip.
Yeah,
people you don't really like that much, that you've had to have an obligation.
Negative thoughts, yourself, self-talk. What are you letting yourself say to yourself? That's another type of consuming.
Yeah, wow, I love that. So, my head's going, got that popcorn thinking going on. So when we were talking about it with reference to the thing that was on the TV, I said to Emma, you're not going to watch that on the TV and then think, right, that's it, TV's not for me. Open those doors and chuck that TV out. Smash that bastard up.
That's it.
That's it. Me and TV are finished. We're done now because I saw something once that really upset me. So that's it. Because guess what you can do? You can turn it off or you can turn it over. There's options.
Oh, I could just move my eyes.
Turn it down, whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, but there's options. There are things you have to consume. Water. Air. Love.
Calories.
It's not even lunchtime.
I know.
So there are things you have to consume. Protein. Vitamins. But actually, you don't have to consume stuff that upsets you, that rattles you, that makes you angry.
So what would you say if somebody said, ha, but I'm in a situation where I am having to consume this for now. How do I protect myself? So we've talked about making probably easy choices, simple and quick choices to not consume things. But what if it was a situation where you really were stuck, legit, things weren't changing fast? How do you protect yourself when there's no option but to consume a bit of negativity?
So what kind of example are you thinking? Like if you worked in an office where it was quite negative and people were a bit bitchy, for example.
Yeah, go with that one.
I think you could bubble yourself up before you went in. I know you're not too woo. Sometimes I am too woo for you. But I believe in energy and all that jazz. Emma does selectively. She's a secret wooer, aren't you? You are woo curious.
I identify as woo curious.
Anyway, yeah. Bubble up. So imagine a bubble of light around you. I would probably have some crystals in my pocket as well. And I would practice being boundaried, not engaging in it. I would probably acknowledge it, but then I would, in a really kind and gracious way, make it known that I wasn't going to participate. And then I would seek to reinforce that boundary. So say, for example, I was once at a workshop years and years ago, and there was about 5 or 6 people there, and they started talking about somebody that we all knew and saying some quite mean things about them, and everyone got involved in this conversation. And then when it went quiet, I just said, sort of quite quietly, I just said, that's not my experience of that person. But, you know, everyone's opinion's valid, but that's not my experience of that person. And, you know, I'm not really sure it's fair to not defend someone when they're not here. And I just said it like that, sort of in quite a kind way. And I didn't do it deliberately to make anyone squirm or anything, but that kind of drew the line that I wasn't going to engage in that. and it changed the conversation, and they didn't mention it again.
Did anyone speak to you for the rest of the day? I'm just messing. Because it's really brave to do that. It's really brave to do that.
Mm-hmm. And I could see that they did feel a bit uncomfortable, but I wasn't calling them out. I was just being in my truth. That wasn't my experience of that person. So, you know, I heard what they said. You know, I acknowledged it. I said, oh, right, okay, well, that's definitely not my experience of that person, but I'm not saying it's not yours. But for me, you know, I probably would feel a bit uncomfortable about not defending them. And then I left it there. And that was so that was a way of being boundaried in a situation where I could have sat there and had to absorb and, you know, consume a lot more of that, and I didn't want to.
Mm-hmm. So, and I guess also as well, sometimes making a bit of an excuse and just physically removing yourself.
Yeah.
Toilet break or extended lunch break, or
changing the subject as well. I think you're really good at this. You'll say, Emma will sometimes say,
it's our family all the time.
It's a bit off topic, but, and then she'll go in a totally different direction.
What's your favourite animal?
We can be talking about anything at all. Yeah, and she'll say it's a bit off topic, but, and that changes the direction of the conversation, and that's useful.
Sometimes it's useful,
and it can be quite funny as well.
Sometimes it can. Humour's a great healer, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I guess we're talking about what you consume. It's loads of different things. It starts probably with social media, with the news, or the things that we think of first. Then I guess next I think of in my house. How are people feeling? What's the area like? What's the space like? You know, I feel at the minute my house is quite orderly, and that, you know, well, apart from the wardrobe, you know, that I feel like I'm consuming good stuff in my house. What do you feel like with that?
Yeah, I think that's definitely right. And because you've just moved into this house, you went through the process of getting rid of stuff you didn't want and bringing stuff in that you did want, and then you went through the process of where does stuff belong. I think when you've been somewhere a while, you maybe aren't as mindful of that, and that's something that people like me, I've been in my house 5, coming up to 6 years now, that I could maybe have an audit on.
Well, what was interesting was, like you say, when I moved, I did do this big audit packing, and I did another one unpacking, and every object I've got now that's out on display means and feels something. And I've put pictures in certain places and been really mindful this time. What do I want to see first thing when I wake up in the morning? And it's the lovely bird picture in the bedroom. I'm one of the people that what? Like we're a breed of people that I don't have pictures of my child in my bedroom because I don't want to worry about that when I sleep. It's my couplesy space. You know, I've got the lovely picture downstairs that you noticed yesterday because it makes me feel happy when I'm sitting in the lounge, and it's an outdoorsy picture, and every object I've got out now because I like it, because I'm consuming the feeling or the thought. Like, you know what it's like to have shit that you don't want, that you've been given.
Definitely.
Somebody in Kate's life. Kate says we've got to be really careful and not out people. So I'll just
on the
say
podcast,
somebody very close to Kate. So close it could almost be genetically close to Kate. Gives her a load of shit that she doesn't want. Kate's so red in the face now she might actually wet herself a little bit. Somebody that could be... No, I haven't outed them, it's fine. I followed the rules, okay? Somebody that could be so close to Kate, they could be almost genetically close, gives her a load of shit that she doesn't want. And it irritates you every time you see it, so you consume the wrath of housing that thing. You consume the vibe of it though, don't you?
But
just
also, I think when you've been through, you know, it's no secret that I've been separated for a couple of years now as well. Joint stuff and stuff that did belong to, and still does belong to my ex, that was lying around in my environment. I've packaged up. I know that they're going to be moving again soon, so I've packaged all of that up ready, and I've taken it out of my immediate living space so that it's ready to hand over, but it's not there all the time. So, and when you're talking about consuming that, you're talking about the energy of different things and the meaning that you give to things and the vibration that they've got. So yeah, I do probably need to do a little bit more decluttering.
You see, I think you've got objects that don't spark joy but are very difficult to let go of.
You're totally right. Yeah, this is one of those conversations of bit off topic, but...
Well, do you know what one of the really fun things I did was, I have a teenager, and when we were doing the big physical stuff audit of moving, we hired a builder, Skip, I think it's something like 10 cubic yards or feet or whatever. Anyway, it's huge. You could fit like 15 people in it. And then some. And my daughter was struggling with a great big IKEA bag, which is like a kind of half-ton dumpy bag. If you don't know what an IKEA bag is. A half-ton dumpy bag of China dolls that she collected from the car boot sale, like for like £1 or whatever. And you could see her really struggling with the, I hate them, but there's so many of them and I feel overwhelmed. How can I let them go? And we did a little bit of research first. You know, they weren't particularly sought after. Nobody wanted them. People on local selling pages couldn't. Nobody wants them. Okay, they were no use. So I said to her, let's do something really fun. Let's go down the skip and smash their faces off the side of the skip, and then they're broken and we have to throw them out. Because she felt so
mad.
That is mad. We got them by their little pleather shoes and we sort of swung them because she was struggling.
Quite cathartic.
Well, it was, Kate, because it symbolised having stuff and you know, it sounds wasteful and stuff, but they were knackered anyway. Nobody wanted them. I'm totally into recycling and stuff, but these dolls symbolise so much more than the £1 spent at the car boot sale. You know, and it's like I said to you, I was in Kate's house recently, and I said, well, why have you got this toilet brush? And she said, because somebody close to me bought it and gave it me. And I said, but you don't, I can tell by your face and your body language and every inch and fibre of your being that you really don't want this toilet brush. And I said, let's just throw it out the bathroom window. No, you can't do that. You can't do that. And I just thought the flying toilet brush would have been hilarious.
No, that's not good. No, I'm not going to be
Can
doing
we make
that.
another one called the flying toilet brush?
Well, what's it going to be about?
Well,
Other than the toilet brush, that's it. You've done it now.
Oh, okay.
You could call this one the flying toilet brush. It would probably get people clicking through just for curiosity.
I know, the shit.
Hopefully they've hung on long enough to get to this part.
I know, if you have, well done. The shit cart and the flying toilet brush. So any sort of last thoughts, Kate, because we know Academy people, the Tribesters, will know of the shit cart. New people to you or that aren't in your Life and Soul Academy won't know of the shit cart. Quick wrap up of key points.
We were talking about what we were consuming.
Oh,
not the shit cart.
Oh my fucking god!
Emma's still on the last podcast.
Oh no!
No,
Oh, shit.
it's okay. Don't worry. No.
Oh, okay.
So if
I'm
you
sorry.
are interested in the shit cart, you need to go back and listen to the podcast called The Shit Cart because it's brilliant. But this is about what you are consuming. So in terms of
Consuming.
She's getting hungry now, I think, so we're going to have to wrap up anyway. So in the main, we were talking about stuff like what's on TV, podcasts, what you're listening to, what you're looking at, what you're hearing, what you're watching, and how it can either be positive or how it can steal your energy and be negative. And that you get a choice. You can actually choose what it is. So you can set your social media settings so that you snooze people, so that you unfollow people. You can unfollow people on Facebook and still be their friend, but it means that their stuff's not going to show up in your feed. And that be responsible with yourself. Look after yourself. This is self-care. You don't have to. If you were going to read a book and, you know, chapter 1, 2 and 3 were really triggery and scary and you weren't enjoying it, you wouldn't finish the book.
You see, I've got to be honest, I would.
Oh, she's absolutely
Because I've
crazy.
paid for the book and I'm furiously frugal. But maybe that's another podcast. But I would probably challenge myself to keep going.
Yeah, most people wouldn't continue reading it because they would identify that it wasn't good for them. So when you think about what you're consuming, ask what it's doing to you. How's it making you feel? If it's positive, great. If it's negative, what can you do about it? And you do not need to throw your TV out just because there's something on it once that triggers you. So
Absolutely.
yeah. And you don't need to necessarily leave social media platforms because they are triggering you. You can use your settings, or you can use unfollow and other things to make it a more comfortable and productive and positive online space for you. And you can teach your kids how to do that as well.
I concur.
Right.
Coffee time.
So do you want to try and wrap this up properly now? Consuming?
No, not really.
Not really.
So Yeah, well, you've just done the wrap up. Okay, so that's goodbye from Kate.
And goodbye from Emma the trumpet.
Take care. Bye bye.